the game.
Hi, I'm Kelsa Dickey, the CEO of the Financial Coach Academy and my financial coaching business, Fiscal Fitness Phoenix. My coaching journey began more than a decade ago with me helping people for free from my dining room table. What was once a little business of mine has grown into a 7-figure company that employs a team of people. My goal is simple, to help you fall more and more in love with financial coaching. I believe financial coaching is the most rewarding way to make a living. If you are an aspiring financial coach or have been coaching for years, I'm here to help you create a business you love that gets your clients massive results. Let's get to it. All right. Hey, Financial Coach. Welcome to episode 68 of the Financial Coach Academy podcast. We're going to talk about how to stop spinning your wheels today. We are going to review a mistake coaches make really early on that seems normal or trivial, but it is a big deal. It's one of the main reasons coaches tend to stall out or struggle to find success when they're first starting out. So we're going to get into it. Some of you might feel a little called out by this episode, but hopefully in the best kind of way. So first, let's talk about what it looks and feels like when you are spinning your wheels. When you are throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. You're expending effort, you're working hard, you're investing time into trying things, but maybe without any real results. Or maybe some results, probably, but no significant or consistent results that you can point to. You might be following a lot of people who seem to have it figured out. You find yourself dreaming of what it would be like if you could just figure this out. You might be craving stability. You're hoping for a time when things feel easier or when you'll feel like you've got it figured out. Like I said, oftentimes you feel overwhelmed by the task in front of you. Maybe you're not sure where to start, what questions to ask, what's important, and how to approach it. You maybe feel like you're guessing a lot of the time. Or you find yourself working on 12 different things in any given day or week, none of which you feel entirely confident in, although you know that you are doing your best. You feel like you're in a never-ending process of figuring it out, that whole figuring it out thing, right? We keep repeating that. You may be also putting a lot of pressure on yourself, beating yourself up. If things aren't working, you're not seeing specific results that you're hoping to see, or there's work not getting done. It might feel as if you're running in a direction, but not actually getting to your destination. So it feels like you're treading water. And after a while, you are going to get tired if you're not already. Are you tired, Coach? Have you hit that point yet? I have been there, I promise, and I know the feeling all too well. Chances are, there is one thing you're doing that is contributing to you feeling this way. Your approach to making business decisions, specifically your approach to trial and error that you're doing in your business, is likely a big factor in why you are spinning your wheels. But guess what? We're going to solve that today. So buckle up, Buttercup. Trial and error is actually part of business, but there is a massive difference between what I call strategic trial and error and erratic trial and error. Erratic trial and error is when you make too many changes at once. It's when you try things just to see what sticks and you hop from one change to the next to the next. You make a change, but you don't analyze the results of that change before you're moving on to the next thing that needs your attention. It is too random. Yes, trial and error has an element of randomness to it, but it's not entirely random. What we're shooting for, what I hope to teach you in this episode, is strategic trial and error. Let me give you an example from the perspective of our clients. Oftentimes when I think about what I need for my business, I think about my clients, and it really does help me because I feel confident in knowing what my clients need with their money, and all too often it's similar to what I need in my business, or at least our approach to it is the same. We're just talking about a different currency. So thinking about my clients, and probably yours too, before they come to us, they've probably tried a bunch of different things. They try something for a week. They try not going through the drive-thru at Starbucks. They try using cash. They try telling themselves no on things during the week. They try logging into their bank account every morning. They try categorizing their expenses in a new app, right? And they come in saying, I've tried everything and none of it works. And one of the questions I ask is, how long did you try that for? Oh, I don't know. It wasn't working, so I scrapped it. Then I'll ask, were there any parts of that strategy that did work for you? And what parts didn't seem to work well for you? These questions are important because most things that we try don't work perfectly, and they certainly are not going to work perfectly right away. Change is hard, and some things take time to feel good or feel routine, and overall to reap any results or benefits from it. When a client first starts our program, for example, and we put new routines and systems in place for helping them to better manage their money, we ask them to commit to a new method fully for 30 days minimum. Every session, we're checking in and asking what's working, what's not working, what do you like, what are you not liking? So there are modifications we're making to the method, but we're not making huge sweeping overhauls. We're using the same method, we're just tweaking and refining it. I want us to give everything a solid try first before we decide if it's working or not. Let me give you another example. I'm recording this episode while we're in the thick of the Client Creator Challenge. Each week, we're making refinements to the coach's processes for attracting clients. A coach posted this week and said she's getting lots of leads, but is struggling to convert the leads. So I asked her to break down her current process for me. She has a very large and active Facebook group that she runs ads to. When members request to join, one of the questions she asks is if they would like her to private message them, and quite a few people say yes, which is amazing, right? She has got a great system going on. So she starts a conversation by private messaging them, and usually we'll get a good dialogue going with folks. Again, this is all amazing so far, but when she invites them to hop on a call with her, they go quiet. So then I had her break down for me what she's saying when she messages them. What do you ask first? How do you start the message? What's the typical response that you get? What do you say next? And those types of things, right? She explained that she introduces herself, asks how they found her, and then asks them what problems they're experiencing with money. There's a bit of dialogue, and then she asks them to hop on a call. This coach asked if she should stop private messaging on Facebook. Should she email them instead? Should she change the questions that she asks when they join the Facebook group? All sorts of specific questions that this coach was asking in CCC, right? And I told her no, because the issue isn't on the front end. You're getting leads. You're getting people to say yes to connecting with you via private message. That part is working. So let's not stop that part. The gap seems to occur once the conversation has started, right? Something in the conversation is where the issue lies, not before the conversation starts. Let's not mess with the part that seems to be working. And had it not been for CCC happening at the time, I am sure she would have overhauled the entire flow that she had created instead of making minor adjustments to the current flow. Instead of asking, here's the advice that I had told the coach. Instead of asking about a problem that they're having, I had her switch the question to one about a particular goal they're having for their life. Then after they respond, ask if they feel confident in how they're using their money to help them achieve that goal. In other words, start with a positive, affirming conversation instead of a negative, problem-focused one. That small shift helps a person want to connect with you because it feels a lot less heavy and daunting, right? I instructed her to switch her question for 1 week and let me know how the conversations flow from there. Ideally, you want them seeing that you've replied to a message and feel excited or uplifted when that notification comes in. So I want you to imagine that you're a prospect and you're messaging with somebody, and it's about a problem you're experiencing. And all of a sudden you see that you've gotten a message from this person. How do you feel when that message comes in and it's about a problem that you're having? Probably a little like, oh, am I in the mood for this conversation right now, right? Am I in the right headspace? Versus imagine if it's about a goal that you have and something you want to achieve for your life. I might be more excited or more inclined to click on that message, right? That small shift completely changes the client experience, okay? Then I asked her to break down for me how she's inviting them to hop on a call with her. And the way she was doing it was quite formal. Here is what the coach was sending. Quote, "Thanks for sharing that with me." This was in response to a question she had asked them. "Thanks for sharing that with me. Normally what happens next is we book a free 15-minute call to chat a little more in depth about what's going on and point you towards some next steps. I have a couple of spots next week available on Tuesday and Wednesday. Do either of those days work for you?" So I gave her some new wording to make it a little more friendly, I would say. Not unprofessional, but a little less professional, maybe. Maybe a little less formal is probably the right way to say it. Hopefully, really what we're going for is less intimidating sounding. So instead of the tone of, this is part of my process, or the next part of my process is blank, make it seem like it's you who wants to talk, and that's why you're recommending it. So I told her to try something like this. I totally get it. I've had a few clients express that to me, or I've had a few clients say the same thing or come to me for the same thing. There are likely a few things you'll want to look at. Are you free tomorrow at X or tomorrow at Y to hop on a call to talk about some things you can do to jumpstart your progress? Let me know which time works best for you and what number I should call. Now, the purpose of this episode isn't to try and analyze the nuance of these two responses and why one is better than the other, but hopefully you can simply see the difference. And of course, I told the coach, this is the vibe we're after. Feel free to change the wording to make it sound more like you and to be more in alignment with who you are. But this is the gist, okay? I instructed her to try that for 1 week and then report back on her observations and results. From that point, we analyze the results of the changes made and make the next change. We do that for a bit and analyze the results. Rinse and repeat. Notice that we are picking one specific part of the process and refining it and seeing what the impact is. In both of these examples, there's a difference in our approach to the iteration phase of business, the trial and error phase. One of those, which is like, should I try this? Should I scrap this whole thing and change the entire, thing? That feels a bit erratic, and it's focused on changing random parts of a process. And the other, it's like, let's pick the part where the break is happening. Let's pick the part where the client is falling off and tackle that specific step of the process. That's more strategic and focused on refinements versus those massive overhauls. Now, I started this episode saying that this shift that I want to talk about sounds trivial. So if it's not yet clear the difference between what you might be doing and the examples that I just shared, let's see if I can break this down and make it even more clear for you. When you first launch your business, if you haven't run a business before, I had not when I first launched my business, you're not just solving the problem in front of you. You're not just making decisions. You are also trying to cultivate a strategic mindset. And I promise this is not something I fully understood when I first launched my business. You are training your mind to think like a business owner. Your trial and error phase of business creates an opportunity to do exactly that, but only if you allow it to. Instead of spinning your wheels, I want you to think about it as creating a more fundamental method of problem solving characterized by a repeated attempt which continues until you achieve success or you stop trying. Think of it like a controlled science experiment and not haphazard actions. Think of it as continuous refinement versus massive overhauls and sweeping changes. Shift to a perspective where you're identifying and removing errors or filling gaps. Think of it as looking for the step in the process that is flawed, not the entire strategy that is flawed. Trial and error isn't a tool for overcoming immediate challenges. It's a means of enhancing your overall problem-solving skills. Now, the step that most people miss when it comes to strategic experimentation is analysis. Stopping to analyze what's working, what's not working, what you like and what you don't like. Then making a change and analyzing the impact of that change. Did it work? Did it help? Did it make it worse? Trial and error with analysis is key. Analyze why a particular attempt didn't work. Analyze what you like or what's successful about a particular attempt so that you know what parts to keep or maintain with the next iteration. Similar to the financial progress that our clients make, business is an exercise in patience and in small, consistent steps towards progress. Analysis helps you hone your ability to dissect problems, identify underlying causes, and assess the effectiveness of various solutions. Analysis is crucial for effective trial and error. Even better, analysis in your trial and error boosts creativity and innovation. Let me really get into this because I think this is super cool. Let's say there is a step in your client journey that's not working. Erratic or random trial and error might be you looking for any other approach that might work, scrapping the whole thing you currently have and adopting a brand new strategy. But imagine if you are using strategic trial and error, then you're not looking for just any new approach or method. You might be asking something more like this. I need to find a solution that combines these parts that are working for me, but resolves these issues that I'm experiencing. I can't just copy what someone else is doing because it's likely not a perfect fit either, right? We are now encouraged to develop a solution that is unique to us. It's more nuanced. It requires creativity and innovation, but creativity and innovation are often derived from necessity. Instead of scrapping the entirety of what you're doing, analyze what parts of your current approach are working and which parts are not. Then ask yourself, how can you modify the small pieces that aren't working? Here's why this works better, stops you from spinning your wheels, and leads you to make faster progress and get faster results overall. First, small changes cut down on the learning curve. You have most of the process figured out and can focus on the one piece you're changing. Big changes mean that you're new at everything all over again, so it's going to take longer to decide if it's working or not because you must first learn an entirely new approach. And I promise you, this is something that some of you are doing over and over and over again. Singular change plus analysis. Singular change plus analysis. That is your feedback loop. It's okay to start with something. Anything. Ideally, you will adopt a framework or strategy, then slowly and methodically modify that framework to add in your own individuality. But you have to start with something. It is literally the design of the Financial Coach Academy. Here is what I recommend if you are in the course. So in FCA, you literally get everything I use every day to coach hundreds of clients. Prep worksheets and questionnaires, contracts, email confirmation, handouts, you name it. You get a 90-day financial coaching program that you can use right away with your clients. My recommendation, enroll in the program and start with exactly what we give you. Just start using it. Don't change it. Don't modify it. Just use it. I mean, of course, put your logo on it, change the colors, make it your branding, all of that. When I say don't change it, I just mean make it yours, but replicate the framework and process is what I mean. Use the things we're giving you, make it your own, but essentially replicate it, right? I have laid out a proven way to do this work. Start with that. Don't try to reinvent the wheel or design your business from scratch right out the gate. You are in the academy, which means you have a proven system right at your fingertips. Use it. Use my questionnaires, use my worksheets, my contracts, use my entire client journey and build it out using all of the tools that I give you. Then work that system, get clients, help people, start making money. And as you go, begin to modify and make it your own as you go. But start with something that you know works, then strategically perform trial and error. Make iterations only after you've experienced for yourself how that will work for you, then pick one step and modify it. Take the parts of my business model that you're now using and ask yourself which step you like the least. You're not going to hurt my feelings. We're not the same, and I want you to fall in love with your business like I have mine. But you've got to start somewhere and then make calculated adjustments from there. Analyze the changes you make to see if you like it better or if it works better for you, and then modify again. Rinse and repeat, but with analysis each step of the way. What if 75% of my business model works for you? Would you consider that a success or a failure? I consider it a success because you only need to strategically experiment with 25% and not your entire business. Also, I never make a change based off one person's experience. If one person goes through a concept quickly, let's say during our coaching program, I don't assume every client will. All too often, coaches are making changes way too fast. One thing happens and they want to totally scrap the entire process and start over. You are creating a lengthy learning curve for yourself if you do it that way. You are slowing your own progress. You're spinning your wheels because of it, I promise you. It doesn't have to be that hard. It doesn't have to be big, swooping changes all the time. When it comes to the trial and error that we all do in business, slow it down. Bring patience and analysis to your iteration process and watch as it polishes your cognitive mind, making you a better problem solver, more strategic, and overall more creative, more confident, and more innovative. Strategic trial and error, not erratic trial and error. That is what it takes to stop spinning your wheels, coach. And the same is true for our clients and their financial progress too. So let's lead by example, shall we? The next episode, I am super excited. You hear me say that we should all be student of our craft, right? That there is always more to learn on this journey of financial coaching. Well, next week, I'm going to break down what I mean when I say that. I'm going to give you a list of specific topics that you can explore in order to expand your knowledge and skill set as a coach. And I'll be covering it from two perspectives: the financial concepts that you might want to explore and the coaching methods and modalities that exist as well, because there are so many of them. Coaching is all about figuring out what you think of something and how that is impacting how you feel and the actions you take. In order to honor the coaching philosophy, I like to end every episode with a question for you to reflect on. And the purpose is to deepen your awareness of your thoughts and help you gain clarity on today's topic. So here is your question, coach. Do you feel called out a little bit? Are you spinning your wheels because of erratic trial and error? Let me know. I want to hear from you. I believe financial coaching is the best and most rewarding way to make a living. I truly love what I do. If you are ready to learn and see how to become a profitable, successful financial coach, check us out at financialcoachacademy.com to learn more about our online programs, free trainings, and our events. As always, I love hearing from you. If you have any questions for the podcast or to share your thoughts on the reflection question from today's episode, please go to financialcoachacademy.com/podcast. And if you love this podcast, please hit the thumbs up button on today's episode, hit subscribe, and also leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts. It would mean the world to me. I will see you next week, coach.